Morning. Today we are going to start with the topic consent. Okay. Now section 3 to section 22, we are going to discuss these sections to understand what is consent and what is free consent. Okay. Now section 13 is defining consent. Two or more persons are said to consent when they agree upon the same thing in the same sense. Means I am speaking in a particular manner, in a particular sense, and you are also understanding it in that sense. Okay, now that will be called as a consent. That will be called, here just consent is been defined. Means you are understanding me in the same sense in which I want you to understand. You are not misinterpreting. You are not misunderstanding me. Okay, so in the same thing and in the same sense, when you understand the thing, you decide to accept it and you have accepted it, then that will be called as a contract which has come into existence with a consent. I give you an offer. The words in the offer are not misinterpreted by you. Whatever, in what sense, in what intention I am giving you the offer, in that sense only you have understood it and you are giving your consent, your acceptance to me, and then you can say this will be called as a contract. A contract will come into existence here. Okay. Now section 13 is just defining consent. Two or more persons are said to consent when they agree upon the same thing in the same sense. Okay. Now section 14, which tells about free consent. Consent is said to be free when it is not caused by. Consent will be free if it is not caused by. Means in the consent, these things should not be there. These are 5 things which should not be there in the consent. If they are there in the consent, then it means it is not a free consent. And for a contract, consent, free consent is required. Now what are the 5 things which are going to vitiate, which are going to affect the consent? First is coercion, which has been explained in section 15. Second is undue influence, which has been explained in section 16. Third is fraud, which has been defined and explained in section 17. Fourth is misrepresentation, which has been defined in section 18. Okay, and the last is, fifth one is mistake, and that has been explained and discussed in section 20, 21 and 22. Like this, the sections are being divided. Section 13 is telling you about consent, 14 is telling about free consent, 15 is telling about coercion. So if these 5 things are not there, then that consent will be called as a free consent. Okay. Now section 15, which is defining coercion. If in a contract there is coercion, then the consent is not free. When the consent is not free, what the person can do? He can cancel the contract. But if he keeps quiet, the contract will be valid. This position, this option which has been given to him to make the contract valid or object upon it and cancel it, that position is called as voidable. Voidable contract means when a person who is affected by coercion or undue influence or fraud and misrepresentation, I am not telling mistake. Mistake concept is completely different. But when in a free consent, in a consent, these 4 things are there, the contract becomes voidable. Therefore, the option is there upon the person to cancel it or either he can continue it. Okay. Now section 15 is telling about coercion. Coercion means what? When a person is being coerced, when a person is being compelled, threatened to do something, means he is being threatened that you sign on the paper, you give your consent on this contract. When you give the consent, okay, if you don't give the consent, then I'll kill you, I'll take away your property, or I will kill you, your relative and all. Means the person is threatening to do something on him or on any other person who is like connected to him or he is interested in him. Unless he signs on the paper, then this is called as coercion. The signature which he has given on the contract, That is just a signature there. His mind is not in the signature, because if coercion was not there, he would not have signed it. Okay, first we will see what is coercion and what is the effect of coercion of contract. Okay, coercion is the committing or threatening to commit any act forbidden by IPC. Now it will be BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, so when a person enters into contract only because he has been threatened that any offense, any act forbidden by BNS is being going to commit against him, or unlawful detaining or threatening to detain any property to the prejudice of any person whatever, with the intention of causing any person to enter into an agreement. You have to enter into agreement, otherwise I'll kill you or any of your relative, or I'm threatening you that you will be unlawfully detained or your property will not be given. Only in this fear you are giving the signature. Then this signature is affected by what? Coercion, and therefore that agreement will be voidable. You can object after removal of coercion. You can challenge the matter in the court. You prove coercion and make the contract void. But if you keep quiet, you don't object on it, the contract is very much valid, because if you don't speak, how people will come to know that there is coercion behind this signature, isn't it? Therefore, if you object, it will be declared void. If you don't object, if you don't do anything, the contract is valid. I'll just repeat, coercion is committing or threatening to commit any act forbidden by Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, or any unlawful detaining or threatening to detain any property to the prejudice of any person whatever, with the intention of causing any person to enter into an agreement. Now here one thing is very much important. When you say IPC or when you say BNS, they are having their own jurisdiction. Beyond their jurisdiction, they don't operate. They don't have, unless we are having some concept of extraterritorial operation also. But BNS will not apply after 12 nautical miles of our coastal line. Means Indian peninsular part is there, from that 12 nautical miles our BNS will apply. But beyond that 12 nautical miles, BNS does not apply. For contract, it is not very much essential that where the coercion has taken place, BNS should apply or not. At any place where BNS does not apply, at that place also if coercion has taken place, then that is going to affect the contract. The contract will become voidable. Okay, that has been given in the explanation. It is immaterial whether the IPC, that is BNS, is or is not in force in the place where the coercion is employed. Therefore, BNS may apply there, may not apply there, but if coercion has taken place, the person has been coerced to do something, means to sign the papers, or else he'll be killed, or any act forbidden by BNS is going to take place, then that will amount to coercion, and that is going to affect his consent. His signature, his consent is not free. Okay, now we'll see one illustration here. A, on board on English ship on the high seas. On the high seas means a BNS does not apply. Causes B to enter into agreement by an act amounting to criminal intimidation. Means the person is criminally intimidating him, threatening him and compelling him to enter into a contract. A afterwards sues B for the breach of contract at Calcutta. A has employed coercion, although his act is not an offence by the law of England, and although the criminal intimidation of BNS also, because it was not in force at that time when or that place or when coercion took place, the BNS was not applying him. Okay, maybe BNS is not applying him, the area is such where BNS does not apply, it is immaterial here. Here coercion has taken place. He can challenge, he can prove that coercion had taken place, and he can declare the contract void. He can declare. He is having an option. Therefore, whenever coercion is there in a agreement, in a contract, the contract becomes voidable. The consent does not remain free. Okay. Bye bye. See you in the next video.